Welcome to the Chatty Bear podcast. I'm Amit Bhaskar and she Geraldine Sanglang.
Every Wednesday and Saturday, we share our food and travel experiences, hoping you feel more comfortable on your adventures.
If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe us and click that bell button for the notifications. And if you're listening us on any audio platforms like Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, make sure you follow us and leave us a comment over there so we can improve all the time.
This episode is sponsored by Leading Presence. Whether you're starting a new business or looking for a fresh challenge at work, professional branding is key. Leading Presence consultants tell your story so you can lead online. So in this episode, we're discussing our visit to Tabu Dubai. So Amit, it has a 25 plus strict age policy. We're on the 23rd floor of the St Regis Hotel in Dubai in Business Bay, so in downtown. There's a reservation-only second floor, so it's kind of an invite-only by reservation private space. There's an outdoor bar, there's performance art, there's a shisha lounge, they've got an outdoor bar, I think I mentioned that. But my question to you is, do you think that the name Tabu accurately represents the restaurant?
I don't actually know whether Tabu, T-A-B-U, is actually that Tabu, T-A-B-O-O. But maybe it is. When you search it online, it actually says like T-A-B-U, T-A-B-O-O. So maybe it's that. If I go with that word, taboo, I think it represents that.
Tell me more about that.
Because when you enter the restaurant, it's an adult vibe. It's not like you can go with kids and they're very clear about it. You can't go with the kids. It's not allowed, as Geraldine just said. So once you enter the restaurant, you're welcomed with amazing view because it's at 23rd floor of the St Regis. And if you go to the patio side, like outside the restaurant towards the open area, there is an amazing two sumos like holding Burj Khalifa sort of statues. So that's a good spot for photos. But what I felt in Tabu is, as the night goes on, like you feel the motion of energy going up. So we went there at around 3-4 p.m.
Something like that, before dinner to kind of visit, take photos, meet folks.
Yeah, we went there around that time, 4-5 p.m. And then of course it's a dull environment at that time. But then 6 p.m. hits, and then people start coming in. The sun starts to go down and the restaurant light goes up, and that LCD screen with those Japanese faces come up. Then theatrics starts, like Japanese dress and everything starts going on. And then there is like Japanese dance going on, Japanese music, food comes to, starts moving around here and there, some noise and some, vibe around you changes. So if you are there at 6 p.m., I would say you are like, okay, it's a normal restaurant. But by the time it becomes 9, 10, you know why it's called Tabu. It's like, it starts becoming adult. Not that bad adult, but something like drinks, cocktail, mocktail, those kind of dances, erotic dances, and everything happens there.
They're not quite erotic dances, but perhaps more sexual than you would see in other places.
Yeah, like when I talk to...
Less suggestive, or more suggestive perhaps? I'm not quite sure anymore.
I say this only because when we talked to the chef, and my specific question to him was like, are children and families are allowed? He said, no, it's like more like erotic place and all those things. He clearly said like there are erotic dances and adult vibe over here, so we don't allow kids. That's the only reason I mentioned the word erotic. But yeah, it's very sensual environment at 9 p.m., 10 p.m. It's not bad. It's nothing wrong. It's just sensual, sexy environment to be in. It's very beautiful.
Well, to me, I suppose taboo suggests that it's something that is taboo is something you might not speak of, but suggests sexual nature.
Yeah.
So in that case, to me, it's kind of all of the things you're describing, which I agree. It's definitely, I agree with your statement of it's not that bad. But we're in Dubai, so like you said, even for cocktails, Amit doesn't really drink alcohol, whereas I enjoy alcohol. I enjoy the breadth of alcohol, from liquors to wines and beers and cocktails and things like that. So when I'm in Dubai, of course, I'm aware that it's harder to find cocktails. Even the restaurant today, when I ordered wine and I was told, oh yes, these are the options and this is where I asked, where is the wine from? And so they were kind of explaining, it was difficult to understand. And then when they said, all right, here's the wine, and I sipped it, I asked more questions and then I realized it was kombucha. So when you're at Tabu and you ask for a cocktail, when you ask for wine, it's that cocktail, it's that wine. And so even that, when it comes to food and beverage in Dubai, I think really speaks to the Tabu flair, because there's no joking, there's no fooling. This is not maybe quote wine. This is wine. Enjoy.
And I also think like it's one of the perfect places to take your date on. Like, it's a very beautiful space. You have an amazing view of the city. You have amazing view of the Burj Khalifa itself. If you are in Dubai for the first time, and if you have come from Western countries or any other part of the developed countryside, your imagination is like so many restrictions. Maybe alcohol is not allowed and this and that. In Tabu, everything is allowed, and that is why it's. I guess that's why it's called Tabu. It's taboo for the city itself.
Yes.
It's different than what city follows, I guess.
I agree. And we definitely saw some questionable things where we paused and kind of hung out. We're like, oh, that's happening. And like, do you see? Like, shh, that's happening. But also, we did not check out the like second floor thing, like the reservation. Super
group booking
thing.
area.
Yeah. So part of us too, when we left, was like, so I wonder what that area was. I mean, I'm sure if we asked to go, it would have been okay. But also a little part of me is like, I'm glad we didn't see. Like, I don't really want to peek under the skirt.
But having said that, nothing shady, nothing bad. It's just sexual, sensual, beautiful. And it's totally... it's a sexy vibe. That's the word, sexy vibe place.
Definitely a sexy vibe. I love that, as you walk in, and if you look at sort of marketing for Tabu online, you see a lot of the hallway, the tall candles, not tapers, like really thick, big white candles everywhere, same height, very dark, which is beautiful. And then this was actually our first proper night out in Dubai since we returned. And so, yes, I kept commenting on these big plush pillows. Because where I'm from in Greater Vancouver, I mean, pillows are very decorative. Whereas there, it was almost like, this is a real prop. Like, the banquettes are actually pushing you back, and I need the pillow to prop me up, and it's gorgeous. Like, I don't know the proper word for it, but you know that Japanese art, well, the display art, how it's the big faces, even that, like I just kept taking photos of all these pillows because it was so beautiful, and yes, sensual. Like the colors are very welcoming.
And the screen, the photos on the screen, actually sometimes the artists who are playing theatrics over there, they go on the stage, and sometimes the screen, something on the screen matches the play they are doing. So for example, there was a scene where lots of lanterns were going up on the screen, and the artist on the stage mimics that her dance in a way, like she is lifting the lantern, so it feels like it's all connected.
That is very dramatic.
So it's a very dramatic setup. I loved it.
So you met with executive chef Roberto Segura. And so really that's why we were there early. We wanted to meet with the executive chef and learn about the kitchen. And then you spent time with him inside the kitchen. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what that experience was like?
So in the kitchen, in Tabu, the kitchen is open space, sort of. Like if you're walking throughout the restaurant, you can actually see people cooking inside. It's an open kitchen. And there's a separate section for sushi making. So I was more interested in that initially. So I went to that section, and the other chefs were preparing the sushi dish for us. I made the video, and the way chefs around there are connected, like the way they communicate with each other, they don't even speak much. They just look and it's there. They just take the stuff and start, like everybody knows their job. And then there is a barbecue section where they use coal for like fish, for chicken, barbecue and all the stuff. It was a good experience. And having coal and everything, all the fire stuff, there was no smoke, nothing. So it was very good ventilation over there as well. And Yeah, the chef was amazing. He knew that I'm there for photos and videos. So he would ask me like, I'm going to do this. Do you want to take video? I'm like, okay. And then there was a sort of big platter for sushi for us. And then they cover it with dry ice. They put dry ice in it and then they cover it with glass. So it feels like the smoke is inside the glass. So that part was amazing. Yeah, I felt very comfortable and very nice with them there.
The presentation was definitely gorgeous, and you could feel the thoughtfulness of the presentation from the time you walk in, where all of a sudden, like, you're in Tabu, like, welcome to our world. And then, yes, dish after dish. It was so artful and masterful, which is why it was so interesting to meet the executive chef and ask him about the concept, and even about how do you recruit staff in such a competitive space, knowing that you really want to deliver this great experience, because it doesn't come from nowhere, right? Like, everybody really has to buy into the experience and feel comfortable. Because I do want to say that, like, I felt wonderful with the staff. I was happy to ask questions and delve into things, so I could chat with them about food ingredients, let's say, or I could ask them about the environment and what's it like, and is everything okay, and stuff like that.
Here, I would just like to thank the chef especially, because for the first time when I interviewed him, there was technical glitch and I could not record the audio, but he was kind enough to give another time and I was able to interview him again. And the second interview was outside the restaurant in that patio area, so the view of the downtown was awesome. So yeah, thanks to him. Yeah.
Well, and so gracious, because he was telling us about how, of course, he has a home here, but he travels quite a lot, and he has a young child, and so, yes, so patient, so giving of his time. It almost showed just how much attention he gives when he's doing something, whether it's cooking or speaking with you, what have you.
He speaks very fast, and that shows up in his style as well, in kitchen or generally dealing with the clients and everything. He's fast, not fast like you won't understand or you feel bad, no, fast as in he knows the next step, so he just moves on quick. So I like that about him.
Well, it was interesting when we met him in the afternoon. He made a comment that based on his background, he really enjoys spending time in front of house. He doesn't like to, as he was basically describing, like hide out in the back and just keep cooking. He likes to come out. And so it was our first time in Tabu. We were very much enjoying the environment, but you could see him pop up every once in a while, not only to check on us, like it was not to appease us or anything, but he was genuinely popping in and out, visiting with folks, sometimes just kind of watching and then moving on. So that really does go part and parcel with the whole he hops around, moves quickly concept.
And I would like to ask, like, I told you, like, what's my impression about Tabu, what I feel about it. What's your first impression? Like, the moment you entered, what was the first thought that came into mind?
The first thought was that it was very fun. And I sound very formal to say that. It felt fun. But it just did. I'll say that we've visited quite a number of restaurants here in Dubai over the last year, both very formal, mid-level, and casual. And it's like you can't replicate the adult fun that's there. And I don't even mean sexual. It just means that the food was whimsical, the decor was whimsical, there was open space, you can wander outside. Like you said, there were those sumo wrestlers kind of posed to do the like posy thing with the Burj Khalifa, which usually I kind of think, oh, that's kind of whatever. I don't want to do that. And then even myself, like I was outside, of course you're posing, you're having your moment. And forgive me, but when you see Emirati folks out there as well, you feel even more comfortable because you think to yourself, oh, kind of get over yourself and enjoy. So that was really my big impression. It's a very sexy space. I felt sexy all night long. It was wonderful, all day, all night. But at the end of the day, it was about the fun. They don't take things too seriously, even the giving of their time, right? They were happy to spend time. And if you needed to switch up a dish, like it's no big deal. Or if I asked a question about a cocktail, it was all good. And I love that.
Because it's a very hot time here as well. The outside area was closed, but they have outdoor bar as well in the patio. So now that the temperature has started to go down, winter is coming up, they're going to open that up and it's going to be even more sexy. You can actually imagine 23rd floor facing Burj Khalifa with cocktail or mocktail in your hand. Amazing. I think it was the first place where we had food topped with the golden leaf, right?
Yes.
And it was Wagyu beef.
Yes. I think that as well was a first for us, surprisingly, our first Wagyu beef experience.
I had only heard about Wagyu beef till then, I guess. When you hear about it on YouTube videos and channels, it's about how expensive it is, world's most expensive Wagyu beef and all. But there, they just made us feel like it's just another thing. And the dish itself came in like very tiny shape, and it was crunchy from outside, Wagyu beef inside, and topped with gold. And it was all black.
Yes, it was very special. So how it was described
Below,
by
I guess.
the server, it was these black pillow pitas, and then there's Wagyu beef, and then the gold leaf on top, and caviar as well. Yes, caviar and gold dust. How dare we forget?
Yeah.
So when it was described to me, I thought, what? Yes, thank you, please. But also, like, what is happening? So when it came out and it was presented, and it was these 4, like solid little pillows just on this beautiful setting, and it came out, and we were kind of looking at each other like, what's happening? And then you pop it into your mouth, and it like, for me, it just melted. Like this initial crunch kind of pop when you bite through that pillowy exterior, but then everything else just gets kind of smooth and melty.
If I have to explain the feeling of that dish, if somebody had some chocolate where the outside is very crunchy and inside is like liquid chocolate, it felt like that, except the chocolatey taste, the feeling of the smoothness. So outside is crunch and it crushes, and then the very, very smooth Wagyu beef. You don't even feel like it's a beef. So smooth. And then obviously gold has no contribution to taste and all, but when you take photo or when you're picking it up, it feels very exquisite. It feels like wow. It's a very tiny thing, but it just bursts up with taste in the mouth.
I do want to say too that something I really appreciate about Tabu is that they're actually quite affordable.
Yeah.
So I would say it's a high-end restaurant, but like what makes it affordable is that, of course, you can order a la carte, so you can order some things. And yes, I would come in for just a cocktail and that. But also, I love that there are set menus. So it's something like $199 AED, definitely less than $200 AED for a 3-course meal. So if you're really looking to impress someone, or you're bringing somebody from out of town, or you just want to participate in kind of the whole experience without being concerned about what am I into? What am I getting into when I'm there? I think that's a very nice option. Just something that allows folks to come, really feel that opulence, and then, go and move forth.
Yeah, and then we also had this special dish invented by our own chef over there. I think it was black cod.
Yes.
And I'll put up the photo or video over here for you to check out. But the way this dish looks like, so in the restaurant, it's always dark. Not dark enough, but dark enough to, just look at the food and all. If you have to read a menu, then you'll have to have some light for you, right? You'll need some light. So in that...
we would point out to each other, or I would point out to Amit, because I was struggling.
Yeah.
And then you would see a few folks like shyly bring out the phones. I'd be like, oh good, somebody else.
Yeah. For us, at least, we were lucky enough that our food was selected by the chef himself. So we didn't have to, go through the menu. We were looking through the menu to just, I think, find out the ingredients and everything. But we could see other people using light to read the menu. So that dish, black cod, is invention of the chef, and it comes in a white bowl, and the whole thing is black, and it's not normal black. I think it's very pitch black. It's
like squidding black, and then against the super white surrounding bowl. It was quite spectacular.
Yeah, it feels like it's absorbing light. It's so dark, and at the end of it, it's fish, and when you eat it, it's very yummy. And it's so weird that everything is black, top to bottom, everything is black, and you don't know how it's going to taste, and you just have to trust that, okay, chef understands it, it's fine, and you just eat it, and you're like, okay, the chef was right.
No, it's true. And I had kind of an awkward moment. I was speaking with the server, and I said, I noticed, as we were chatting through the whole menu, and I said, I noticed there are a couple of black cod options. Can you tell me why? I'm not familiar with this. And she said, no, it's black. So it's like a squid ink black. I was like, oh, I don't know why I didn't know that or why I thought I just didn't know what was happening. But no, I understand. So yeah, for sure. I agree. I think it's like extra blackened.
I think if they have to go funny way, they can name it as black square cod. But it was very tasty. If you're there, it's chef's brainchild. You should try it. It's lovely.
Once you cut into it too, because I remember it has this, it's super umami all the way because it was like a gomai sauce, and then there's caviar, and then these thick pieces of fish. Well, it's one thick piece of fish. So you bite into it and it just kind of flakes into your mouth, and it just gets kind of richer and richer. And it's a dish that it doesn't require sides because you just kind of continue eating. And from what I remember, there's quinoa involved, but it was a very involved dish. Very fascinating.
Yeah. And if you remember, one funny thing over there is that I ate more edamame than anybody else.
Oh, yeah. The edamame was wonderful.
They used salt in a way that it wasn't salty, but the moment that particular grain goes to touches your tongue, then only it's salty. It's so amazing. Like, they gave us one ball of edamame, and she had like 3-4. Then she asked me to try, and she said like, it's very yummy, you should try it. And 2-3 minutes later, it was empty.
No, do you remember why it was so good?
Why?
Because there's chili.
Oh yeah. Little spicy, little salty.
Yeah. And at the time, I was starting to drink this cocktail called Between the Sheets, which is the primary or the liquor in there is it's a Scotch whiskey, and it's Johnnie Walker Black, which is beautiful. In my opinion, that drink is the most elegant way to drink Johnnie Walker Black, because Johnnie Walker Black is typically served in a rocks glass, so either on the rocks or smooth or what have you. If you do you and you're doing shot glasses, have at her. But this particular cocktail, beautiful cocktail glass, and then it was like yuzu and I think elderflower syrup, like it was quite rich. And anyway, so I mention this now because it was a very Johnnie Walker Black forward cocktail, which I appreciate. So I'm sipping my cocktail, loving life, and then I'm nibbling on this edamame. And here Amit is like taking photos, taking videos, and I was like, no, you gotta try this edamame. And I don't know about you, but sometimes it's a little bit of a, like, forgive me, like a throwaway, or it's like bar nuts where you're just eating them because it's time to eat some food now. But that particular edamame, it's one of those like, I need to know how to make it. Definitely the salt that he used, it reminded me of this Vancouver Island salt. It's kind of glassy, but it's those, what do you call it? Like the flakes of salt, where it's like little squares. Even now, I'm like emulating it because it makes you want to
it wasn't,
make shapes.
It wasn't powdered salt. It was like rock salt with nice grains. Yeah.
And this is darkness.
Yeah.
I had been sipping some drinks. It's dark, and we're like, tell me about this salt.
Yeah. If I have to, if I don't have much money or something, I'd just go there for that edamame. I finished 2 balls of it, so you can imagine it was so tasty. I
do have to say too, so I've mentioned a dish I would come for alone. You've mentioned the edamame. I would say that if you check it out and it's your vibe, I would use it as a feeling them out business drink spot. Because, when you're doing business, you're setting up meetings, you're just trying to find the right space, the right vibe. If I'm trying to figure out, are you my people? It doesn't matter what business, I'd feel comfortable bringing them there. Not because I'm testing them with alcohol or something like that, but because there are beautiful dishes that you can just savor, have a bit of a nibble, and just feel at ease and just get to know each other as people before you really delve into, okay, this is it.
Yeah, this is a good idea for people who are on budget and they want to experience some high-end luxury. Like, go for it. Like, just eat edamame and a drink.
Yeah. You must have had at least a mocktail or 2. Do you want to tell us about your experience with them?
I had many mocktails. One I remember is called Geisha Lips. And it had raspberry, it had so many syrups, pineapple juice. When I asked her to try it, she says, She felt like 16-year-old. So what was that about?
Oh gosh. I mean, I don't really know all of the background of geisha. We can all kind of imagine what our thoughts are regarding geisha, sexual innuendos, do your thing. But to me, when I sipped that drink, it was so smooth and sweet that immediately I thought, oh my gosh, I'm that kind of 16-year-old girl. I'm pushing my bike beside me. I'm wearing little jean shorts. I pulled out my lip smackers. I applied my lip smackers, and I'm hoping a boy will kiss me. That's the story that came to mind with that first sip. Either that, or he just kissed me for the first time. It's time to go. I need to tell my friends. That is what I got from that mocktail.
Well, if it's too descriptive for you, I'm sorry. But that's what she felt. So
Geisha Lips. I mean, they put it out there. I'm going to swing back. It's important. I mean, I support the restaurant.
I didn't even know that description. But the only thing I said was, I love this mocktail. It was very yummy.
Standout dishes for me, apart from the Geisha Lips, and of course that cocktail, was the edamame spicy and smoked, which we discussed. Excellent. Not a throwaway appy at all. The black pillow pita, which we discussed. Those really pillowy bites with the wagyu, the caviar, the gold dust. My gosh. Believe it or not, I do not select dishes based on photos, but when I read something spectacular, number one, I think, how could it be? How good could it be? And it is. And then number two, is it worth it? And this one was definitely a check. Absolutely worth it. Oh, the signature nigiri. So we had salmon and hamachi, and they were incredible. Just like, pardon me, so smooth on your tongue. And every bite was such a huge, it was like, I was grateful to have the next bite. And these ones are ordered by the piece. And so when the server saw that we hadn't eaten them yet because we were taking photos, videos, and stuff like that, she came over and she was like, you haven't tried the nigiri. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And she was like, you need to stop and eat the nigiri. I was just like, yes, ma'am.
It was very delicious. I just say delicious to everything, but it's hard to describe those tastes for me because those tastes are new for me, as well as it's very beautiful. The presentation of the whole thing was amazing.
Yes.
It comes with the dry ice. It comes with that whole smoke thing coming out of it. So I enjoy that visual aspect of it. When it comes to tasting, when it comes to describing how the taste is, she is very good at it.
Oh.
So I leave the visual representation, like taste representation, on her, and visually I enjoy it more. So.
Well, but the thing about you is that you're very discerning, so you don't usually ask for more food, and you don't usually make comments. So when Amit makes a comment like, this is delicious, that means it's really delicious. I can talk about rice all day long. I'm happy to. But
and especially when I say it's bad.
Yes.
Sometimes it is bad.
Yes. Sometimes it is bad. But yes, that was delicious. Quite a standout. And again, like when something looks so fancy, I automatically think, well, good for you. Like, why are we doing this? Is it because it's quasi or just okay? And it was not. It was wonderful.
So I think Tabu menu is designed in a way that everybody has something to do with it. So even if you belong to a business class or you want to have a business meeting over there, like so many people, you can just book your private lounge and go there and have dinner there. If you are a family of adult people, like 5-6 people, there are big tables over there. You will enjoy it. If you are a couple, outdoor seating is going to open up in winter and it's going to be super, super beautiful and very photogenic. So you can just stay outside. It's not going to be hot. Keep ordering your food. If you are light on budget as well, if you want to experience this kind of dining space, you can always go there and have some drink, have edamame. Definitely have edamame. And you can order some sushi or something. It's very I think this is when they created the menu, they were actually thoughtful about this fact that they wanted everybody to try this place. And that's what I like about this place. It's exquisite, it's beautiful, and it doesn't repel you with its beauty. It invites you, like, okay, let's try. So there are places which are so fancy and opulent, they try to showcase that, and sometimes for new people it repels them. Like they are afraid of going there and trying it even. They automatically feel like, no, it's not for them. Whereas Tabu is like, you go there, try it, there is something for you.
That's definitely the case for me. Sorry. If I feel like it's too fancy, and I specifically in my heart say fancy because I feel like if a restaurant is too opulent, it makes me feel like that young person, that 21, not quite the 16-year-old, the 21-year-old who will say the word fancy and not opulent. It's like I don't belong. I can't even use the words that I would normally describe. It's too much. But no, yes, I agree. Tabu, I would totally come for brunch now that it's cooler outside. I'd be happy to do brunch. I'd be happy to come, even if you're catching up with a friend, like just one-on-one. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to mention is that a lot of the restaurants here in Dubai, they have a DJ all the time. And so when I saw the photos of the DJ at Tabu, I thought to myself, like, oh my gosh, here's another noisy restaurant. What are we going to do there? But no, this is the most appropriate level of music I think I've heard in a restaurant that showcases a
and
DJ.
It changes with the kind of artists that are doing their theatrics. That was amazing. It's not like random DJ music going on for you to just jump on music. No, there's something going on. It's basically what do you call it? It's stage drama going on, where the whole restaurant is kind of a stage, and if irrespective of where you are seated, some artist is going to pass by and be like, oh, what's happening here? And then you'll relate to the music playing in the background. And then you'll definitely take out your phone and take pictures, because those people are so amazingly dressed in traditional Japanese clothes. It makes you feel like, oh, okay, something is new. And they keep changing those artists. So sometimes there are sumos, sometimes there are dancers, sometimes there are stunt guys, I guess. And they all use the whole space very nicely.
And it kind of phases in. So you'll be eating, chit-chatting, and then sometimes you just hear some slow claps, or I think it was bells. And I was alone because Amit was, doing his thing, speaking with chef, and I just heard these bells, and I was thinking like, oh gosh, it's on. Like, please don't make me involved.
there were actually two stages, remember? There was one massive stage with LCD background, LED background, and then there was a stage on the other side of the restaurant where it was a proper stage with lights. So these ladies or these artists would perform here and there and behind us. So like the whole thing is covered, so you don't have to worry about where to sit. It's all covered. And
it was so fun to watch and see what they were going to wear. And it wasn't all women, I believe. Well, we kind of discussed this. I don't think everybody, I think it was pretty gender fluid. And the clothing too changed. I mean, if you look online, you'll see there were some sort of sumo-looking guys. We didn't see any of those guys. But it was so fun to see their wigs and to see the little accessories, to see the shapes of the bodices, because they're literally right up to you, sometimes looking you at the eye. And
If somebody has seen like Japanese movies, like latest ones, or I think animation movies as well, the kind of anime they have, you see it here. It's like that. It's very futuristic dressings sometimes, or sometimes very traditional. It's all mixture of everything. So that's what I love. That's what makes it very unique.
Very fun. And the last dish that I wanted to mention is the lava cake. It was a lava chocolate cake. And again, there's a lot of dishes where you think to yourself, how good could it be? And I just remember breaking into this thing, and the combination of rich dark chocolates, it was just so inviting. Oh, and there was like a yuzu ice cream, and it was so delicious. It was just one of those, like, you can't stop eating. And also, I don't think I could replicate that cake. It was just so rich. Like, not very flowery at all. Like, maybe it was flourless. I don't know. I prefer it to be a secret to me. I just know it was delicious. I loved it. And Actually, thinking back, it totally matched the like black color texture of what they were going for. Yeah, it was a beautiful cake. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Geraldine Sangalang. He is Amit Bahaskar. Every Wednesday and Saturday, we share our food and travel experiences, hoping that you feel more comfortable on your own adventures. Please visit chattybear.com, where you'll find in-depth articles and videos about Tabu Dubai and about all of the places we've been to in the last little while. So please chat with us on social media, and we'll see you next time.